Welcome back to your Geek News headquarters. I'm your host Chris, and this is another episode of Trailer Triumph or Trailer Tragedy. Today, we are going to be talking about both the teaser and theatrical trailers for the upcoming Black Widow movie from Marvel. If you haven't seen the trailers yet, the links to both are in the description below. So I want to start with things I liked about the trailers. I am a fan of Black Widow in the MCU, so when the trailers dropped, I was excited for that reason alone. I am also a fan of David Harbour in just about everything he does, so seeing him playing Captain Russia or whatever he is supposed to be was also cool.
And the rest of the cast is great too. I mean, you can't really go wrong with Scarlett Johansson and Rachel Weisz. Hello, ladies!
Taskmaster is a villain I always wanted to see enter the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it is a Marvel film, so all of the action and special effects should at least be up to par, if not above. That's about all the praise I have for these trailers. Both of these trailers came out upwards of 7 months ago. Originally, the film was slated for a May 2020 release, which has now been pushed back to sometime in 2021. This is not good for the Black Widow movie. The movie itself was already coming out too late for Black Widow, who, spoiler alert, died in Avengers Endgame. So no matter what, this film was always going to be dealing with the problem of trying to get people hyped for a character whose ending they already know. Furthermore, the Black Widow movie was not supposed to be up against much competition. It was scheduled during a comparative drought of Marvel movies, and it wouldn't have much outside competition to deal with either. If people wanted Marvel, they would have to go see Black Widow. Now the movie has been pushed back like many others, meaning it will face more competition both from other Marvel movies as well as other movies from DC and all the other movies that also got pushed back because of COVID.
At the end of April, A Quiet Place Part 2 and The Asset are coming out. And later in May, Godzilla vs. Kong, Spiral, which is a Saw sequel, the next Fast and the Furious movie, F9, and Cruella, centering on the villain from 101 Dalmatians, are all coming out. That kind of competition for this movie is not good. Besides the timing of the film's release, the trailers themselves left me a little underwhelmed. The music is standard action music, and it fits well with the scenes shown, but it isn't anywhere near as impressive as, say, the Snyder Cut trailer using Hallelujah, or the Dune trailer using Pink Floyd's Eclipse. From the trailers we saw, this could just as easily be a Mission Impossible movie, or some other spy thriller, rather than a superhero movie. In fact, the main times we are reminded this is a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie is when Taskmaster is busting out iconic poses from superheroes who aren't in the movie. Ooh, remember Captain America? Well, he's not in this movie. Ooh, yeah, remember Black Panther? This ain't him. And I could have accepted all that, as Taskmaster's primary ability is copying other people's fighting styles, if it weren't for the fact that Taskmaster looks crappy. Now, this part might get me in trouble, as I've seen where other commenters have said they think he looks cool, but I am just not sold on it. After seeing the MCU do such great versions of Captain America, Thor, Spider-Man, Iron Man, I expected more when it came to Taskmaster. His mask is supposed to be a skull. It's kind of one of his defining characteristics. In this movie, they give him a vaguely skull-looking face mask with ski goggles. And it's not that they couldn't do a better job than that for his costume. It's likely because Disney wants to be able to sell this film in China, and China has restrictions against showing ghosts and skeletons in their films and video games. Frankly, it really turns me off to the film, as I would prefer to see an awesome version of Taskmaster instead of some guy going to a paintball tournament or a knockoff Lord Zed. So, I was talking to David, the guy that created Geek News Now, about this trailer, and he's like, is it just me, or does Taskmaster look a lot like Hancock? And as soon as he said it, I couldn't get it out of my head, and he's never in my life did I think that I'd be having to make this comparison of Taskmaster and Hancock, but apparently here we are.
One of the final things that bugs me is the introduction of Black Widow's family. This just goes against so much of her established character. I very much enjoyed her being a loner, someone who found it hard to trust people and had no family. But for Hawkeye, and eventually the Avengers, the family she chose to fight beside. But apparently she had a whole superhero crime fighting family or whatever back in Russia. So were they one big happy family before she was trained as a child assassin and sterilized, or after? Adding a bunch of superfluous details to an established character is tricky, and you run the risk of detracting from the overall character rather than enhancing it. So let's recap. Black Widow is getting her own movie! The movie is coming out after her death in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The trailer seems fit for a standard spy thriller rather than an MCU film. Taskmaster's costume does not live up to expectations. And this isn't really the trailer's fault, but the movie being continually pushed back makes it difficult to stay excited for this movie. Unfortunately, I think we have our first trailer tragedy. Overall, I think the movie will be fine, and it might even delight Black Widow fans, but it will not go down as one of the better films in the MCU. Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. Also, make sure to check out the trailer for Mimesis, I think that's how you say that, Mimesis Nosferatu, which will be the next trailer we look at on a special Halloween episode of Trailer Triumph or Trailer Tragedy. And don't forget to check out geeknewsnow.net for all of your geek news needs. See you next time.